got a needle humming, got the old machine singing. Every scar's got a story, every soul's got a thing. Black ink, red blood, truth you just can't hide. You can learn a whole lot by what's worn on the inside, between the lines, where the stories come alive. Every mark's a memory, every tattoo survived. From the first little scratch to the last design. Pull up a chair. Welcome to Between the Lines.
What up, folks? This is your friendly neighborhood synner. If you recognize me, it's because we have other shows going on there. If you look to in the screen, he would be to my that way. Do not adjust your sets. You're not seeing double. This guy, he's just as handsome as I am, Mr. Chris Martinez. What we're doing here is, if you don't know and you've been living under a rock for the last, how many years now?
I've been on this for like 20. I've been in the industry now 20 years. So.
Yeah, Mr. Chris here is a tattoo artist, and so what we're wanting to do here is kind of bring to the forefront, just like in my other show, bring to the forefront Lubbock and the tattoo and its culture and everything else that goes with it. So officially, I'd like to welcome everyone to, or did we agree on that name, that title there?
Yeah,
Between the Lines?
Between the Lines.
Between the Lines. What you can expect is basically little history lessons on tattoo artists in case you might learn something here. Techniques, stories, cultures, myths of the business. So at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Chris. That way we can get to know Chris more on how you got started and your little journey as, like you said, 20 years now?
20 years.
20 years as to how, what brought you to this point right here.
Well, I mean, for those that don't know, I've been an artist majority of life.
Forever.
Forever. Thanks to this man right here. Like, I mean, it was a big inspiration, and so I got it. I was in the drawing, went through all the educational stuff, did public schools, went to college for it for a while. Met a guy in college that actually made it sound interesting. Again, more inspiration from you, and I was able to kind of, a little bit of self-taught, but then meeting the right people and learning how to get guided into it. Taking what would be somewhat of an old school apprenticeship, but learn it and got into tattooing. And really, what got me and what inspired me is that when I was in school, there was a lot of I appreciated the Renaissance era. I liked reading and studying about Da Vinci and tattoo, or not tattooing, but painting, the Sistine Chapel. And so, of course, in this day and age, there wasn't really much cathedrals and chapels to be
Right.
Going into it, realizing, hey, this is the living temple. So I got into tattooing, wanting to help people tell their stories. I know that tattooing is definitely, a way for people to tell their stories, for them to, mark certain parts of their journey. And so helping people get through certain hurdles in their life, being able to express that, it's always been, something that was, very interesting to me, to be able to take art. I've done art from canvases to paintings, sculptures, charcoals, all types of, different mediums. And so, doing it on a living canvas was definitely one of the most challenging canvases that you could ever approach as an artist.
Right.
And so, that's where I got into it, and I mean, from there, I mean, it was just learning and learning as you go. But I mean, like I said, everybody kind of has an extent of self. I mean, you always learning even after, even after your apprenticeship.
An ongoing learning.
Yeah, it's an ongoing learning thing. I feel that if you ever stop, feel like you're not learning, you kind of dead in the water there.
Right.
So
probably grow a little still on it, and you got to turn around and try to find the love for it all over again.
But to see it evolve and what it's been in the last 20 years.
And it'd be interesting to sit there and think, because you talk about your canvas now as opposed to like Da Vinci's and all the Renaissance arts. Wouldn't it be funny to be able to hear the stories of the synth? You know what I mean? Because when you think of your favorite piece, and I know you've got it in the back of your head. As soon as I said you've got your favorite piece that you've done, to sit there and invite that person to come in and talk about that piece. Can you imagine you coming? Okay, you're the Sistine Chapel, huh? So what were you thinking when this was going on? I don't like this paint all over me.
Laying upside down. I mean, to know the history too. Like, I mean, he hung upside down. Upside down, basically. And I mean, to be there and have the way he did his stencil. Having to draw it and then poke holes and then blow charcoal through it to basically giving it the same thing as what we would do to do the stencils here on the living canvas. He would do it there and then have to come back and start dropping in, the line work, and then coming in and bringing life to the painting through all the shading and the hues and saturations and textures.
The same steps as any artist.
Yeah, as any artist, exactly.
So in your journey, what was the biggest lesson that you've learned up to date? I mean, even still going.
That to be open to the evolving, industry that it is, and the tools with it too. Like, again, 20 years, I was an old dog who didn't want to learn new tricks, and it was for the longest time I was one of these artists that was like loyal to the coil. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to dropping solid line work,
you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with the coil. You can't. So, but big shout outs to Mickey Cantu and Bishop, man. Bishop Machines. Like, it was through Mickey and some other artists that I was working with that introduced me to Bishop rotaries. And at that time, man, I was stuck with doing only a few tricks and not utilizing the different needle configurations and different machine types. And so being able to go over to rotaries to start doing, for shading and color packing and stuff, it was like night and day. Like within a few weeks of like getting used to a new tool, a new brush, it was like, wow. So, and it was at that moment that I was like, okay, I got to learn to be open more to, adjust that. And even not too long ago, I want to say, maybe about a year or two ago, like, I was still doing, old school, pencil paper stencils, making adjustments on the printer. And then now, Procreate, the tablets and the technology of making stencil work so much easier, so much, less time consuming. Like, it's crazy to see how the evolution of tattooing has gone in those 20 years. From the early 2000s to now, where we at 2026 now. Yeah. And to see how much it's changed in my time, and to imagine what it's going to change in the next 10, 20 years, So.
And it flies so fucking quick.
Oh, so quick.
Because I like to consider yourself and myself pioneers in the sense that we can sit there and brag, and we have that on our collar, on our sleeve anyway, that we were I can't say the only, but we were the first tattoo shop in Wolford, which was Spanish Inquisition, for those who do know. But and I kind of lost where the hell I was going to go with this, but you had mentioned how things are changing, how everything's evolving. So the tools of the tools of the craft, the rotary and all that. So I guess is it just, I mean, does it make life so much simpler, so much easier just to go with what's new, like you're saying, and just go with?
I think that's where, I mean, it'll be great for us to bring in other artists and get their perspectives, because I mean, shout out to Hope Fast and Chris Vargas and his team out there. Like those guys, Chris Vargas is one of the artists that I know here in town that very much still uses coils. Machines. I mean, he even builds coils machines, and again, like, mad respect for still keeping that trade still going. But like, you know, I see a lot more now. We've seen everybody's evolving into the pen, and I'm no different. Like I bought my first tattoo pen early part of this year from Tim Hendricks and the Saltwater team out in Anaheim. So another big shout out to those guys as well. The Gold Panther, and I've enjoyed it. Like, I know right now I'm working alongside another great artist, Kume, and he's big on the FK irons. You know, I know, you know, some of the artists like Injectas, but we're seeing like I said, Bishop's come out with the wand. We've seen, man, there's so many, like, it's getting so hard to keep track of, like, how many different pen companies are coming out, you know, out of the woodworks. And I mean, for the longest time, I was so, you know, skeptical about it. When it first came out, and I'm like, I want to say that was probably like 5, maybe longer, 5 to 7 years ago when they first started coming out, and I saw I had gotten an FK irons. It was like the early model, like a Spectra, I think, and I got that and I immediately sold it. Like, at the time I was working with the Bishop, and so I really enjoyed it, and so got that Spectra and immediately
just ran with it.
Yeah, I got rid of it. Like, immediately I got the Bishop Phantom, and it took me a while to want to you know, give it another chance. And so I had you know, I had told some other artists around that had you know, inquired me about whether or not I would ever try using a pen again. And I said, you know, if, you know, I gave them a list of artists like Tim Hendricks, you know, Bishop, if they had come out with a pen, I might, you know, give it a shot. So when I saw late part of last year, I believe, that, you know, the Saltwater team came out with their pen, I was like, you know, I bought one, you know, and was able, you know, I've loved it ever since. But don't get me wrong, I still love, like, my B6. But it's not just also the machine, it's like the way that the needle has changed. And I know that, again, some artists will say that having an E cartridge compared to having a full bar, like, you know, soldered like it was with coils in the early, you know, 90s and later times, that those, you know, they have that give or they don't have the give, you know, that some artists prefer the give, some don't. So, you know, it has definitely been a bit of a adaptation that we've had to, like, you know, adapt to how the cartridges change. You know, when they first came out, you know, a lot of them were, you know, the tension on it was rubber band. Now we've got grommet, you know, because to prevent ink splatter up into the machine, up into the motor. So there's a lot more to it, you know. So, and it's, I mean, again, going on, it's more than just the tattooing itself. Like, I remember in the late 90s and early 2000s, like, tattooing was just tattooing. Like, you know, you were there in the shop, you know, people come in, you know, you had your portfolio, you had your flash, you know, and then you had, you know, like walk-ins or appointments, you know. Now it's so much more. Now you've got to be an artist, and you've got to be a photographer and an editor and a networker, and, like, you know, with social media, it's that too has just, you know, blown up so much now, how tattooing works, you know, how you get yourself out there and get the publicity, you know, get to, you know, reach out to your clients, making it, you know, it's making it easier for everyone, because, again, we're living in a world where it's so fast paced, you know, and so to make it easier now, you know, we've got apps like, you know, Booksy and other apps similar to it. Yeah, where, like, you know, it's no more, you know, calling to the shop or going up and booking your appointment. Now it's just a simple of, touch on the phone, boom, boom, you've already gone through the app, which takes you to a second or third party, boom, and it's already set for you, and then the artist.
Wow, see, that's I just learned that 'cause I didn't know that was actually one of the next topics on the thing was how social media changed the tattoo world.
Yeah, it's like anything, it's give and take. There's
It's got
positive
its pros and cons.
It's pros and its cons. Like, again, trying to show my age that when we had Spanish Inquisition, and there for a while it was just real classic, and then we saw MySpace come up, and I was like, I remember making one for the shop, and I was like, I didn't think at that time what to see, like Facebook, didn't predict Facebook,
right,
didn't predict Twitter or TikTok,
right,
any of this stuff.
all this,
yeah. So I didn't understand, didn't predict or see what was going to happen as far as, everything that we're seeing today with all the social media, and not just the tattoo industry, but like, all business.
Right.
Like, so, but yeah. And then, we saw the birth of like televised tattooing, and that, it was great because it opened up the public to being more open to tattooing. It kind of slowly broke down the stereotypical like feeling of like, oh, well, only criminals or only,
right,
only a certain amount of people have tattoos.
I fell back into that.
Yeah. So, but it gave the delusion to the client that does like tattoos that these masterpieces that they saw on like a 30-minute hour segment of television, could be done in that time.
Right. So
that's kind of what threw things off is that now you got people coming in wanting, and not to say that the imagery that they don't bring or references that they have, can't be done. It's just a matter of being able, can you set the time?
right.
Is the artist,
available
and experienced enough, and that's one thing I can definitely like to share with the audience for the clients, and I think I'm speaking for all respectable artists is that, if you're going to be, it's an investment whenever you're putting time and the process of what tattooing all goes into tattooing to put that into your body. Do your homework. That's what I wanted to, get, the message was just like, do your homework. Some artists are great at certain things and not great at others. And then don't get me wrong, there's other artists that are well-rounded.
Right.
And so I think that,
I think art selection is a big thing too, in my experience. My small and limited experience in tattooing, because I hear a lot of people like, well, I want to tattoo, especially in the young ones. I want to tattoo, and then it may work for them. Then you run around and you see like they'll have one small piece here, one small piece here, one, just different things to where I have an old school mentality, but I kind of feel like every art piece that needs to have a meaning, like a feel to you as an individual. Do you see that a lot? Just people come in and I want Kermit the Frog.
Well,
just to have a tattoo.
When you were saying just randoms, I immediately went to like all the Friday the 13th stuff.
Oh yeah.
And when I was young, as when I was a younger tattoo artist trying to build the portfolio and the clientele, I guess like it benefits. I get it. It's
right. Just a real quick.
It's a tattoo traditional quote unquote type of thing that a lot of they like to do these little gimmick things, but
then you got so many of them.
Yeah, dude. It's to me, I guess like some to each his own. I know that art is in the eye of the beholder, and so some people. If you want my personal preference, I think that from an artist's perspective, the better that you're willing to give us a canvas and be able to actually create artwork,
right?
Like it's better. Like we don't. There's days when we're like, cool, we want to do some little small bangers. They're fun, but like when you're doing like just little small Friday the 13th like little liner type things, like
that have no meaning.
Yeah, to me, I feel
other than what it is.
Yeah, for me, that's somebody that's been doing it for as long as I have, and I'm speaking for me. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of artists that can relate. It's like when those Friday the 13th, these gimmick little like, hey, we're going to do $20 tattoos, $30 tattoos. Like, it feels like we're being like cheap prostitutes. Like
I can see that.
Yeah,
dude,
I
can
and,
see
and
that.
it's like to me, I have not partaken in that Friday the 13th in like some time. Like it's been years, and I really don't. But I personally don't think that the small tattoos like just splotched all over. Like I don't.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's just basic opinion.
yeah,
It's not.
I mean, American traditional and like doing it the way it was, and then like the way that again American traditional is then used like filler, like,
Yeah.
or the fillers that they use with American traditional, great. Like that to me that works good, but just having a whole bunch of like little small, like you said, like nonsense tattoos, like. Well, don't get me wrong, I know that like there's like the apprentices that are coming into the tattoo industry, they're
it helps
yeah, it helps them. So and they have friends and support groups that are like, hey, do it. But I feel that as an artist, there should come a time where I mean you should
evolve.
Evolve, and we should want to do bigger pieces. Like I had gone to a shop after I shut down Spanish Ink. I went to go work at a shop, and like that's all they did was like small tattoos.
Yeah.
And so when I walked in there to do, asking whether or not they did sleeves and stuff, it was like, no, we're too scared. Like I almost.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was like I was like I had to do a double take, almost a triple take. Like did I hear correctly? Like you're scared to do like a sleeve or like
the larger
pieces, the larger
yeah.
pieces and stuff. And so I mean I did help, I guess, do a little bit of inspiration. I would like to think to because they eventually started doing bigger pieces there. They started doing more return clients and that type of stuff. So
I mean, I kind of feel like even if they don't want to admit it, I think you did. You had to,
right? Yeah,
you had to. There's no way that you can walk away. Like me, I'm not an artist, but with the experience at Spanish Inquisitions, the big thing that caught my eye and the respect for what you do and your actual work was that you weren't flipping through, because you're talking 90s, right?
Yeah.
And they weren't flipping through a damn magazine or a book or something and be like, yeah, I want this.
Yeah.
I want this flaming skull with a heart and mom in the middle. That you were actually given creative freedom to just not stencil but draw it there. You know what I mean? And for me, that was so. With that being said, and your experience in Lubbock, are there a lot of artists here in town that do that same, that have that same?
And that's was a great topic that I also had on my heart and mind. I want to talk about. It's like that's, before we got when I was getting here, we were kind of briefly talking. I was telling you that there's a lot of we have an epidemic of hobbyists. In this industry and
scratchers that would be known as scratchers back in the
kitchen magicians
yeah
type of stuff. And so I'm not down in any you want to pursue it like and be all in it all in it or don't
don't do it half-assed and wholeheartedly go in and do it.
But
you gotta crawl,
And so when we had with the birth of like Amazon and Temu and things like that, it made it more accessible for people to get kits and start really just honestly doing some damage. But going to the question you were asking, like what also came is that we saw a lot of what I call cookie cutter or color by number artists, where like again great advancements in technology, but I've seen several artists now like with Procreate and where they're like it's clip art to them, man. They're like going and they're like taking artwork and they're like, well, I'm gonna erase some of this and only keep certain parts of this. Right. Yeah, so it's not really like real drawing. Now, don't get me wrong, not all. So there are artists, and I'm one of them. Like being that I just got onto the whole Procreate train, like where I still treat Procreate like it's my sketch pad. So I go and I make layers where I go and make a rough sketch, then come back and make another layer where I'm doing like where I would have done with my pen and like my hard line, so that way I would have had a good steady black line. And so, but I still very much treat my systems and how I do my stencils and how I prep for a tattoo. I still very much use my tablet, but like as if it was pencil and tape.
Right.
And so there are artists I know that do that. I also know that there's still several artists out there that do paper and pencil, pen, that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
I've seen so many people just, and I get it, they're trying to, consume time or like trying to conserve time. And so, but it's the way they're going about it is it's like, it's almost a backhand to people that really do artwork, that know artwork, that, have actually, painted and drawn and actually, because that's one thing I was also going to say is like, a lot of artists that I've come across throw them a canvas of their choice and a medium of their choice, and it's like, you want to see them sweat? Like, yeah, like it's, we've seen a huge epidemic of like I said, cookie cutter, color by numbers. Like, people that treat this like it's a hobby, whilst the rest of us that have been doing this for 10 plus, 15, 20 plus years, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into this industry. Now we've seen this. We've seen how to live through the experience of the discrimination of being not only tattooed, but being the tattooer.
Right.
I remember being identified as like Lucifer when my oldest was barely born, getting diapers at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when Walmart actually stayed open.
Yeah.
And so
before
like,
COVID.
yeah, and like, hey, like you get tattooed, like, or you're tattooed, and I was like, well, I do tattoos, and like to see,
the expression.
change. Yeah. So and now it's like again, it's great to see that they have been more accepting to it in society. You're starting to see people in the medical field.
That's actually what I was going to say. Do you think a lot of it is because their own are actually starting to get it now? I mean, dare say you might even see a priest or, a man of the cloth where he's got a piece. You know what I mean? You might have a piece. Because the first time, I remember it like if it was yesterday, the first time that I ever seen an actual licensed MD tattooed, I was like, holy fuck. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. So do you think that because their own kind started to accept it, that's kind of where the transition came, and now all of a sudden it's not about fucking Hell's Angels and drug dealers and bad men or bad people getting tattoos or giving them, that it's actually about the art, about the culture. Because, I mean, the only thing I can think of as far as culture-wise is like the Polynesian art and the Polynesian people and how it has strong meaning to them.
Right.
And I kind of feel like let's get past the blue collar and the white collar. And now, it's actually reached a higher point where everybody's like, hell yeah, this is such and such, and he's my favorite artist, and he does absolute amazing art, and they have no problem coming out like, yeah, this is it right here. Yeah. Well, I'll be back because I got to go to court, but I'll talk to you after. Type thing. He's a fucking lawyer. He's a doctor. He's what I mean. So, when was it that you started noticing? Was it there around that time when you started noticing that it was more accepted socially?
I want to say it was probably, I'd say like early 2000s when I started noticing that it was more acceptable. But again, I think that was right around the same time that we started seeing like Miami Ink, and we started seeing televised.
When there was
and it wasn't so much like the contextual, like the contestant game show of like Ink Master type platform, but it was more
documentary,
documentary type stuff. And so it opened up that door and window to the society to like see like what tattoo culture really was. And it was like, artists like Armin James and those guys that were first to get on TV that kind of, I think,
pioneered that.
It did help. It did help. Like I said, I don't really have too much of discretionary with them or, with Miami Ink and them, what they did. I'm very thankful, but I think it was like when the Ink Master, that's when, but I think that that opened it up. Like people now starting to see TV, you know, people tattooed, and then also too, I think the tattooing itself, like what we were starting to see, like at you know, the styles and what we see, like the all the different, you know, tattooing. We have, you know, all the Japanese stuff. We've got so many different styles now in tattooing, and so I think it's kind of a little bit more. How is it? It's a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah.
Like if you really like can see, you know, somebody really examines tattoo, they're a fan of tattooing or you know, just tattoos in general, or have, you know, have an eye for it. You know, they can really look at it and be like, okay, that's penitentiary stuff, or you know, that opposed to being professional.
Right.
And so I think that, yeah, we just started seeing a lot of, you know, people in the medical field, people in legal, you know, cops, priests. We started seeing all these different people, and I think that the world kind of understood that tattoos weren't just, like you said, Hell's Angels. It wasn't
Right,
just
yeah.
criminals. You know, don't get me wrong. In the early times of probably like the 70s and 80s, I can only imagine. You know, it was just, you know, of course, men of crime, and then you know, men of the military as well.
Yeah.
You
Tree
know,
huggers.
yeah, that type of stuff. And so, I mean, we have to also understand, like tattooing. It's the tattooing itself has been around for forever. Like we've seen it since, you know, I think predating like biblical times, where you saw lots of tribes from, you know, the early days had, you know, moko and you know other things that they had, you know, other body art and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, as far as here in the West, it wasn't something that was even really known until like we're coming up on maybe 100 years.
Yeah.
1950 was when we had like our first like tattoo like shops, like solidified tattoo shops, like in the Norfolk area, where you had like an actual cemented, you know, tattoo shop where everyone could come see. Because prior to then, it was like sideshow type stuff. Like they would go with like the circuses and stuff. It'd be like an after hours attraction type of deal.
Right.
You know, you had like Norma Hildebrandt and other women that were tattooed, or men and women both, that were like sideshows, like the world's tattoo man and world's tattoo woman.
Right,
So you know, and that was a part of the gimmick of the circus and stuff. So tattooing itself and the way that we're seeing tattooing today done like in shops and studios, like we haven't even broken 100 years yet. You know?
And it's already just cultivated so well. It's just
crazy.
Yeah, it's just evolved how it's coming about.
How quick.
That's why I kind of wanted to do this. Like I said again, I do the other show because I wanted to bring the attention to not just here, but I mean everywhere. Anyone that can hear the voices that Lubbock has some damn good talent out here. You know. But and I'm sure that's just as soon as anywhere. I remember rolling, like we travel a lot, and we're driving through small towns like let's say, as an example, Slayton or Wolford, just those type of caliber towns, and you see in the middle of the night a big neon sign that says tattoos, and I'm thinking, what if like the one of the greats is doing work out of there, but because it's so secluded, you know what I mean, that what you know, you just never know the potential out there, that what's out there. I mean, there's so much talent out there. This guy probably could put some of our artists, you know what I mean. But going back to the television ones like Ami James and all that, there, do you think that, because we were talking about it too, I kind of feel just in my line of work, just the same as my line of work, it's a competitive thing. Do you feel like shows like Ink Masters made it that way, or is it that that artists can actually come together and appreciate another artist's work and be like, hey, that's an amazing piece and stuff? Was it that the competition side of it makes that makes the artist feel like it's okay to be like, this dude's trash?
I think that there's, I mean, in anything, in any industry, there's always going to be, whether it's spoken or unspoken, there's competitiveness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think that there is, I mean, there's respect that I know that certain artists have for, you know, for other artists. I think that, like you said, Lubbock we have, oh, man, I can't even remember. I want to say it was like over 100, over 200, some 30 some odd artists. Like we've got quite a bit.
Right.
We're like at 83 shops or something like that. Well, and there's a lot of great artists out in the area and in the surrounding area. And, but there are also some that, could stand to humble themselves and take some improvement. Um, but yeah, no, I don't think so much that it was the TV though that kind of, I think it showed the rest of the world that there was competitiveness,
right. But it was always.
But it's I mean,
a level.
Yeah, for those that are in the industry that have been in it long enough, that have been even blessed enough to go and partake in like tattoo conventions, like that's where like you see the real competitive. But it's not, and it's not like cutthroat competitiveness. Like don't get me wrong, I'm sure like in anywhere else, there's certain people that have stepped on other people's toes for personal reasons. And so, yeah, they have their reasons why they can't see eye to eye with certain artists. But for the most part, in all the years I've done conventions, like it's almost like going back to like, high school reunion type stuff. Like, especially if you haven't been in a while, you go back and you see a lot of your fellow artists that are friends. And so doing the tattoo conventions to me is like, it's almost like a retreat, man. You have like a brotherhood, a bondhood of everybody, your fellow artists that are inked, that do tattoos and stuff. And so you're there competitively, like healthy competitively, because you're there to compete, but you're also there to cheer on your fellow artists, because they do have, lots of competitions there at these conventions where you have, best of different categories, best color, best black and gray, best, small, right, best, they have so many different categories. And so, as like I said, different artists specialize in different things, Stagecoach and Jesse Whitley, shout out to those guys. They specialize in American tradition. They're great, Martin and the All-Star, crew out there. They guys came out from California doing a hell of a job here in the Lubbock scene. And I've seen some great work coming out of those guys that are doing some realism, some anime. I mean, they kind of, from what I've seen, they have a well-rounded, right. and so a lot of the shops that I have that I've been shouting out, again, Chris Vargas and the guys over at Hold Fast, they have enough artists in there that it's well-rounded, that they're facilitated to be able to take care of a lot of clients that are able to all the varieties that come with the clients that come for the shops that they're managing and running. Don't get me wrong, there's other artists like Tiffer Wright, shout out to him, and I'm pretty sure, don't get mad at me, Tiffer, about talking down on Ink Master. I love you, brother. Like Tiffer was on Ink Master, right? Along with
I don't think we're
talking
down on it. I kind of feel like, and this is my opinion, like I said, but I kind of feel like, and this might be because of what you said, it was always there.
Yeah.
And I'm more than sure, just like in the WWE, they pinned them up against each other for the ratings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
So, but it's like you're saying, a lot of it was because that show brought it to the forefront for everybody to witness it, and we just ate it up like a fat kid with cake, But
again, I don't have any I love what it did for the artists, from the artist perspective. Like I love that it showcased artists, and it showed that it kind of gave the public an insight behind the culture of tattooing. Granted, it was in front of cameras and lights and all that stuff, and it wasn't a tattoo shop or a tattoo convention where it's something traditionally in the everyday tattoo life. But what I didn't like was the delusion of what it gave to the clients.
Right.
Is that people all of a sudden started thinking that they could get huge sleeves and back pieces and big giant thigh pieces, like these huge pieces that would go for like 2 sessions, and they think that they're going to get it done in like an hour session,
right,
2 hour, a couple hours, knowing that that's minimal, a 6-hour piece, and then again, we saw, I can't speak because I wasn't obviously a part of Ink Master and being behind the scenes and stuff like that, but I can only assume, that to be able to do some of the pieces that I was seeing, that we as the public were seeing, coming out of the shows and stuff like that, that it was, how were they doing such massive pieces in such a short time and stuff like that. And then a few years later, we see, numbing cream coming into the industry now.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that, one of those topics that it has its pros and cons.
Right.
Like I took a little small 3-year hiatus during COVID, because COVID with the whole panic and everything, like it took a damper on the tattoo industry with all like the health supplies and the keep the clean supplies for keeping
Right.
Everything from bloodborne pathogens and all that stuff sterile. So when it took a damper, I took a chill, and then I came back after, like I said, 3 years. The 2020, 2021, 2022, came back in 2023, and even in those 3 years, like it was huge culture shock,
Right.
to see like what was being done with aftercare, what was being done with, again, seeing how more accepting the numbing creams were going on, and like the needle sizes,
right.
man, like seeing now blackouts and like seeing needle configurations, like I got shown it was like 140 something on needles, like yeah, mag, it's things like this big.
So that's not a needle, that's a rake.
Yeah, it's a rake that they just scrape across you. So and like that's another. Now we're seeing like the blackout culture, like because we saw celebrity artists like have on D now, to make a change in life, and like it is just crazy to see where tattooing changed from just being, like I said, at one time, yes, it was just like sailors getting chickens and pigs tattooed on their feet for, superstition type things. And like, of course, other military branches having their SEAL or their platoon or anything. And then, of course, you had criminals. And now, I remember growing up and, of course, I'm an 85 baby, and growing up in that time in the 90s, you saw and knew that, a guy with a tattoo, especially a big neck tattoo, or, had his body covered, that guy was mean, he was dangerous, he was somebody,
right.
Don't wreck with that guy, and now you got, these little scrawny guys with neck that are drinking
right.
spice, spice lattes and shit.
Right.
It's crazy to see now, like,
is that a man Percy's got?
Right, is that while having a throat tattoo?
Right.
Like how much did you cry? How much numbing cream? Like that's not what it is.
Right.
How much numbing cream did you take for you not to cry?
I kind of feel like that's probably a lot of the what brought that along. I mean, obviously it was because they didn't, a lot of maybe the newer generation, anything after millennials was like, I want it. I love it, but I don't think they understood completely what kind of what all the it took. Because some people could sit there and do a tap out and handle it like a champ.
Yeah, one of the biggest line work tattoos I did was a back piece, and we did 12 hours. Just the lines alone were just 12-hour session, right. And that was early 2000s, prior to like us using lidocaine and the numbing stuff and everything. So that client sat it like a champ and had it, then come back, I think 4 or 5 other sessions to get all the shading done. We like quartered out his entire back to do it. But yeah, to sit and do long sessions and then do multiple sessions. Like, yeah, they want to, again, what I was saying earlier is like
dedication.
Everybody wants something so quick. They want to come in, sit the day and get a whole entire thing done, and to see the extremities that we're seeing it with getting put under, to have more than one artist.
Wow.
like yeah, bro, like it was crazy when I started seeing that too, like not too long ago, when they were actually sedating clients and having more than one artist go to town and work in an entire
just so I can keep going.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. If I have if I had a piece and it was pretty much like a kid with a new toy, you just could not wait to get that toy home,
right?
Unbox it and just go to town with it. And for me, a good art piece, especially the Crazy Horse, if I had to, I probably would have sat there 2 whole fucking days. The geisha the same way, only because I was so excited to have it done, and and I kind of feel like the newer ones. Sanders' daughter, for example, she's getting in the process of getting one of the killer, what is it, the killer clowns from outer space or some shit like that.
Okay, yeah.
She's in the process of getting one of those done, and she got the line work done. Well, her first one was here on the forearm, and she sat through it like a champ. Wasn't a big deal.
Right.
And she's like, "Well, I'm ready for a back piece." And like, I don't think you are, because she sat through the line work and part of the coloring, and she was like, "I'm done." And I want to say it was probably, don't quote me on it, but it was probably maybe an hour to 2 hours worth of work when she was like, "Yeah, I can't do this no more." I told her, I says, for my pieces, especially the chest piece and all of the back, I feel like, I told her, I said, I think Chris at some point had to wake me up because it felt so fucking good.
Oh,
yeah. But I don't know. I think a lot of it is that the youngsters don't really understand how much goes into it, how much they're going to have to endure to get it. And then, yeah, like you're saying, if it goes to that extreme to get put under or have to, which I would never put two different artists' piece, share the piece with me, on me anyway. That's just my preference.
Yeah.
That's a bit extreme, I kind of think, in my opinion.
I mean, it's very trusting. I mean, and again, like, I can't express it enough. Like, do your homework. For the clients out there that are listening, like, do your homework. Like, don't just, like, I understand you get a spur of the moment. You want to get, like, a little small tattoo like we were talking about earlier. But, like, if you're wanting, like, a real, true piece of art, like, you want to really make the investment, like, go do your homework. And if you're somebody who's trusting or wanting to be that daring, or you're wanting to just be that unique and be like, I had 3 other artists work on me, make sure that do your homework. Make sure that these artists work together, have similar styles, like all that type of things. Yeah. You need to make sure that they're going to be able to accent well with each other.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm with you. Like, I mean, I have tattoos obviously on myself that I've done myself. I have tattoos that I have had other fellow friend tattoo artists do on me. So to be a collector and have different artists is one thing, you know, but to have 2 artists doing one big piece is like a back piece or, you know, a chest piece, you know, something where it's all supposed to be one, but obviously it's 2 different artists. Like, again, if that's the image, you know, if that's the look that the client is, you know, particularly wanting to go for, by all means, you know, like, don't let us tell you, you know, how and, you know, who to do. But I mean, again, this show is to bring awareness that not only do we want to showcase the artist and what they like to do, but I mean, we want to be able to get, you know, we want to get some insights from clients. We want to also be able to educate the clients and the artists out there, because again, we're not trying to gatekeep information. Like, anybody again that truly wants to pursue it, I say pursue it. Like, I do want to break the bust the bubble of it being a glamorous rock star lifestyle. Like, it's not. You know, I think a lot of these hobbyists, I'm going to call them that, is that they don't understand the terminology of starving artists. Like, they don't understand what that truly means. And so there are going to be times, I think any artist can attest to it, that there's times when you're flush and then there's times when you're bust.
Right.
And so how you're able to manage when you're bust, you know, and when you're up flush, like, I think that is the big thing. You know, I think that is that you got a lot of these young artists that come in because it looks good from the outside.
Right.
You know, they see some of these celebrity artists and they're like, oh, well, I can get to that baller lifestyle.
That too, yeah.
And so, and I'm not saying that you can't. I will say that you're going to have a hard time in Lubbock. Lubbock is very saturated. That is one thing, too. I've seen a big involvement in this part of the world in the tattooing. I mean, I've been blessed to travel all over the state tattooing, all over, a good amount of the country too, going out toward the West Coast. I've been in Nevada, I've been in LA, Anaheim area, I've been down in the Florida area. So, I mean, it's a blessing, it's a good thing to be able to travel with the career.
Right.
But as far as the Lubbock artists or people that are potentially wanting to tattoo in the Lubbock area, know that you're coming into a very saturated market. It is, we're having to deal with, however, the vast amount of tattoo artists that are in shops, along with all the people that are doing it at home or doing this type of stuff. And I mean, that too is it's kind of hindering the market. It's really like, it is a battle right now, because you, as an artist, you're dealing with these guys that are undercutting the professionals. And then you're battling on the other side, the client that, and I get it, with today's world, with all this hyperinflation, like, I understand that money's tight in a lot of people, but again, this is not a necessity. It's a body art, body modification is not a necessity. It's a commodity. And so
this is basically based on what do they call it? Disposable income.
Yeah. And so they got to understand, like, it blows my mind how people will go and just throw stupid amounts of money at nonsense consumerism, and then turn around and like want to cheap themselves on what they're going to put on their body for the rest of their lives. Like, it's stuff's nuts.
Yeah.
And so,
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah, it just blows my mind how many people like want, and that's why I'm like, dude, like, good tattoos are not cheap and cheap tattoos are not good. I cannot say that enough. That you get what you pay for. Yeah. And again,
especially like, in this subject,
100%. And like I said, I get it. Everything's going up in the world. Like, everything's up, gas is up, all that stuff. We're not going to get into that subject, but yes, everything's gone up. Tattooing shouldn't change either. I mean, the days of walking in and having a shop minimum of $50, that to me is like, that blows my mind. And no offense to any of the shops here locally or that are listening, if y'all hear and y'all like, up it, guys. Like, come on. Y'all know it as well as I do that the aftermath of COVID, like what it did on the expenses of supplies.
Right.
Like, I remember in the early when I first started tattooing, I think I calculated like my setup, even before I broke a needle, touched the needle to the skin with ink. You're already out. Like, at that time, you were out like $35.
Yeah.
Now, you're probably out anywhere like nothing less of $60, $70. Like, just to set up.
Just to set, yeah.
Yeah, just to set up. So, to get, $100 minimum, and then to say that you're not having to pay a percentage or whatever it is that, you're not really, as an artist, I want, these clients to understand when your artist tells you there's $100 shop minimum when you make a face, like, understand, like, that artist is probably not going to take that $400.
Right.
Like, part of that has to go back into his supplies. It's got to go into his booth rent, his percentage. Like, he's maybe taking home 30% of that money.
Right.
So he maybe has enough, to go and fill his tank up and grab a bite to eat after not eating all day long.
Right.
If that. But,
apart from the physical toll.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just if he only does one $100 tattoo.
Right.
Obviously, if you go in and you're banging out, 10 $100 tattoos, but
quantity,
still, like, and then again, these clients don't think that the toll it takes, man. Like, and that'll be another subject that we can, a show we can talk about later. We can bring in some artists to talk about the toll that it does take on the body, man. Like, on the shoulder.
For the artist.
Yeah, the artist, man.
Artist.
Like, they think, all these clients, they think, oh, well, it's as simple as just drawing on paper. Like,
I can do that all day. I do that at my office desk all day long. Yeah,
it should be nothing. No, man. Like, we're
like
contorted. Like, I very much, going back to what we talked about at the beginning, like, I very much can understand and feel like what it was like to be Da Vinci or any of those great Renaissance artists that were hanging and being contorted in some, some weird way. Like, I've been, and I know that there's several artists that can attest to it and be like, oh yeah, I've been sitting here twisted and turned over, looking like I'm Jack Kirby's Spider-Man here, trying to tattoo somebody on this lower part of this weird awkward area, like, and we do that, along with straining out our body to stretch skin, to do all the things that takes to make our job easier, to make the canvas
to make that piece look better. As you're speaking of it, I'm reminded of, it might have been your very, very first chess piece. Let me see if you remember it. Because it was like, because I was there and it was done. It was like I said, it was back when you were learning and whatnot. And to me, it looked like you were standing above this man, just digging his heart out of his fucking chest. And I remember the sounds that poor kid made because it was your neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Eric, that's what I thought you were talking about a minute. Yeah, he was moaning.
Because even the positions that you were down, because I swear, in my mind, I see like something on an old Vietnam movie where you're standing over him and you're just ripping his fucking heart out. Yeah, this is your fucking heart, guy.
Something from Apocalyptico or something. Like, look at this Aztec over here just fucking gouging this guy's
just ripping his fucking chest out. And if you were like me, I was on the outside looking in. It almost sounded that way for that poor kid.
Oh,
but he was a champ.
Oh yeah,
I do remember that. He was a
sounded like
champ.
a champ. Oh, it was so funny. Yeah, he was moaning and groaning. Dude. Yeah, that was.
I wish I could see that piece now because that was one of your first big pieces.
I would love to probably redo that entire piece.
I bet.
Yeah, after 20 years, it definitely evolved into a much better.
Bring it to me. Let's
fucking redo that, Eric. If you're out there, man, and you want to brave it, let's set something up, man.
How old is that kid with me now, man? I know he was younger than you.
Yeah,
right?
shoot, I'm gonna be brave and say my age. I'm 40, so he's got to be
mid 30s or low 30s.
Man, shoot, he got to be creeping up too because he's probably got to be less than a handful of years. So I would say probably like 37.
Paul was older.
Yeah, Paul was a little bit older. He was in between me and you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he's got yeah. So
that piece was hilarious. We'll save some more of the business part for up and coming episodes. But now I want to kind of go through some stuff here that I'm looking at. For you, and this is your opinion, for you, what are some of the trends in the craft that you love, and what are some of the trends that you wish would just fucking disappear? The
trend you talk, okay. The trends I like. I've always appreciated. I love Eastern philosophy, Eastern culture.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
Somebody who's practiced Taoism and stuff. I love that type of stuff. So I've always appreciated like the Japanese suits, like the Yakuza suits and stuff like that. And so I love that type of tradition, you know, and so that's one that I definitely love. I'm also loving, like, I ain't gonna say, like, to the female audience, I love seeing, a beautiful woman who's got, the one sleeve, like one arm, one leg, and she's got the rest is clean, like, and just there's something elegant about it. It just really looks good, and then, of course, I mean, I could list you a whole bunch of things that have just irritated me since, we've seen I think all of you just, to me, it seems like, I know they're going to be different, but to me, they just seem so cliche, which is like, it's all like tribal. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I've got tribal because, don't get me wrong, like, it was good for cover-ups. But, seeing that, now the tribal has evolved into like cyber sigilism, which is like, it looks like tribal that's been on Ozempic. Yeah. Like, it's crazy, dude. It like, so that, fine line. I can do it. Don't get me wrong. It's nicely done. There are several artists out there that can do really, really good fine line work, and when done, great. It's nice, but I think again, misconception is that the clients think, oh, because the smaller it is, the less it should be, and like it's like no, like you don't understand, like. The smaller it is, you have to be still.
Down the tighter, the more fine.
Yeah, I've got to be more precise, and then so it's, to me, like, to those that do fine line on a daily basis, like I said, I've done them, I do them whenever requested, but to ones that specialize in it and do it, like, every day, all day, kudos to you, like, for you, like, sitting there keeping your composure while doing that, because I would much rather, I personally like.
Traditional.
I like if I'm gonna do something that's of the animated like spectrum, then I would like to do more of like comic style. I mean, it goes back to being inspired from you.
I love the comic style.
Like I love the edgy, dark. Yes, I love
it.
Yeah, I love it. And I need it. I'm gonna bring you some artwork to hang in here. But yeah, like that's if I'm gonna do animated type of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I also like anime type stuff because it's very similar to the dark graphic animated, you know, the comic style stuff. I love graffiti style stuff, love the bright color when I get the chance to it. But when I was a student and just art, going to tech, and like I've always loved again Renaissance stuff. So I loved realism.
Right.
So to me, out of all the different styles that there are in tattooing, to me, I think photorealism is by far one of the most challenging. And the biggest hats off to the guys that are out there busting out realism and hyperrealism.
Oh yeah.
One big shot, Aaron Norton. Like that's one artist, man, I would love to pick his brain and get him, like, to see his videos. Like this guy doesn't even like put stencils on. Like he has his tablet right there. He has his reference. Fresh skin, clean, get things going, and go straight to town.
And just does it.
And I mean, coming out with spectacular,
that's
crazy stuff.
That's definitely something that, I mean, you have to respect somebody for that kind of
to be able to freehand at that level. Oh my god.
Yeah. Are you do you ever get tired or not necessarily tired? I'm probably asking the wrong questions because I'm not trying to break your clientele. But
I think
one of the things, like I said, this is my opinion. It's based. This is not on on anybody's. Like I said, your shop or anyone else's shop or any of the artists here in town. But the cliche tattoos, like there's a certain age group that you're gonna see the Jack and Sally's, or you know what I mean.
Or then started on the night before Christmas.
Then you got the certain age group or certain persona that's got they're gonna have some type of floral arrangement or some type of flower,
right.
Or you're gonna have that they're gonna have the skeletal overlay, which one of those is it? I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to kill your clientele, but which one of those are you just like, I'm so done with it?
You said the first one, man, dude. Like, no offense, and I don't want to offend any of the Tim Burton fans out there, but like 20 years of doing this, I can't express it enough. It's as many Jack and Sally and Nightmare Before Christmas tattoos as I've done. Like, I have a guy that's interested in wanting to learn, and he told me, he's like, "Oh, I love Tim Burton." He wants to learn how to tattoo. Yeah. So he tells me, I love Tim Burton stuff. And I was like, bro, if you want to come learn under me, and it's a success, and I'm able to help you get going in your career, I said I will throw you all of the Jack and Sally's. I was like, dude, I will gladly do. And then another one I'm not a big fan of, I will gladly do infinity symbols.
Oh yeah.
Like again, I'm not like, I just to me it's played out, man. Like, I mean, if I can be honest, like, it's played out. Like, be more creative. Like, if you really want to, if as a client, to the clients, if you really want something magnificent, something creative,
one of a kind,
yeah. Like, give your artist an idea, give them a theme, give them good references, right?
And the creative,
give them the creative inspiration, and then allow them to run. Be open, be 100% open in your communication on how much skin you're willing to use for the piece that you're wanting to get done, and allow your artist to give them the freedom, and don't, again, I can't express this enough, man. Do not try to haggle your artist. Like, I promise you, if you're giving your artist the freedom
Oh yeah.
of what, you're giving him a good theme that he's excited about, he or she is excited about, then they're gonna cut you a great deal. I promise you.
Yeah.
They're gonna cut you an awesome deal. But if you go in there, like, and this is something that I know a lot of artists are probably gonna get on here, they will agree that to get backhandedly insulted by these people whenever we hear that, well, so and so can do it cheaper, or I got it.
Oh shit! Yeah,
like, and then to come back and then have to be like, oh well, they messed up.
This is what happened. Yeah.
And now here I am. I gotta fix this, if not completely blast over it. And you still want me to do it at the price I told you I was going to do it the first time? Sorry for you. Sorry, we're not doing that. Like, I mean. Instead, people don't understand that. The clients don't understand. Like, now I've got to come over and fix these mistakes,
Right.
And then again, if like they expect us to be miracle workers, like that's what's
Yeah,
so
right.
funny.
It's
Like,
like, we're
and,
not-
like I said earlier, in this tattoo, I remember tattoo artists being tattoo artists. Not tattooists, not hobbyists, tattoo artists. And now we have to wear all these different hats.
Right.
Now you've got to be a tattoo artist. You've got to be a supply manager. You've got to be a social media manager. You've got to be a networker. You've got to be your own banker, a photographer, an editor. Like, you have so many things you got to do to be a successful tattoo artist in 2026.
Right.
And again, this market is it's heavily saturated. I can only imagine like some of the bigger cities like Dallas, San Antonio. I know for a fact, like, how heavily San Antonio is, being that that's where a lot, some of where I would go in my learning times would go down to San Antonio. I know like they are heavily saturated. So again, bringing in other cities like LA, New York, Miami, like some of the other bigger cities across the country. I can only imagine like what the saturation is.
It just by the experience of here in small towns.
Yeah. Because Lubbock is not like a city by no means. It's a town. I mean, it's a little big town.
Right.
But it's.
I mean, tech makes it known. Tech put it on the map. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a San Antonio or like you're saying anything off the coast.
Yeah.
Well, I want to take this opportunity. Like I said, again, we're going to get back to what we're doing here. This is Between the Lines. We want to invite artists and shop owners, people in all aspects of the trade to come in, and even canvases. If you have a piece that you're super proud of, you want to come in, you want to talk about it, you want to give a shout out to your favorite artist, because like you're saying, there's tons of them out there. I know a few of my favorite that, I mean, if I was a different person, I wouldn't mind going to them and having their work done, but I'm loyal. So yeah, you're not going to see anybody else's. If it wasn't done by you, it was done by me, and it probably looked like shit. But
also too, we want to like also bring in not just the tattooing, like you were saying, like we want to bring in, because Lubbock not only has a great tattoo, scene and community. I mean, Lubbock has it has a great art scene. I would love for us to eventually reach out and do, a live show possibly out on, one of the art trails.
The art trails. I was thinking that too. We're kind of right there. I was thinking even because which expos come through here? Because I know because they have Hub City has its own, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We had Hub City had one. Orlando Romo and the guys. Well, Seven Venoms, like the owner of Seven Venoms, he was doing Tornado Alley. I'm not sure what his plans are. I haven't really heard much about whether or not he's doing another one around in the Lubbock. I want to say the first one or two was okay, but the last one was kind of a flop, man. From what I did the last Tornado Alley one, and I'm not saying it was a flop, but it wasn't quite as good as like some of the other ones that I've done elsewhere across the state and across the country.
Right.
I no No offense to it. It's not. I don't think it was anything that had to do with, you know, the team that was hosting it. I think it's just Lubbock, unfortunately, is a Bible Belt country or Bible Belt city.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, you know, being that said, that it's hard for Lubbock to kind of have those types of events. Like I've done Amarillo quite often more than I've done, you know, Lubbock here. And I've even done Corpus Christi and Dallas. I've done a lot more of the other bigger cities than I've done in Lubbock. I would like to see, you know, with this city growing, I would love to see more, you know, that way we can start, you know, bringing out more, you know, the tattoo community, the clients, the art, bringing it out, because again, you know, what we want to do with this show and, you know, is to bring all these artists together, bring the client, like, because at the end of the day, yes, it's friendly competitive, but we're all trying to eat and we're all trying to help not only express our skills and our talents and our passion, but we're trying to help these, you know, I don't know about the rest of these artists, but I'm going to speak for myself, and you know, hope that somebody will agree that, you know, I was raised to the understanding of, you know, we should live to try and make this place better than where we
left it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, in Eastern philosophy, they have a thing they call ikigai, which is a combination of your passion, your mission, your vocation, and your profession. And so your God-given talent, so to speak.
Right.
And so you're supposed to use those, again, to make the world better. And so if I can help somebody tell a part of their story, like in making them feel better about whatever it is that tattoo symbolizes.
Right.
You know, and maybe not even just a tattoo, because again, I've been commissioned to do canvases and murals and stuff like that. So anything that where somebody entrusted me to help tell a story or something that's going to bring joy to their lives.
Right.
You know,
well, kind of getting back to the whole thing of why we do our tattoos anyways, because I mean it's for the visual thing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think that, wow, ain't that crazy coincidence? My co-host to the other shows calling, I hadn't heard from, but getting back to what's the main purpose, the main focus of getting a tattoo. Yeah, a good piece, a person that's wearing a good piece should be able to have the pride to say, oh, Chris Martinez did this piece.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, to sit there and show it, because that's what we're doing. We're not doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, because if it was, then yeah, you could put it on a piece of paper, put it in a folder, and never see it again. Only when you're wanting to. But this is for the whole world to see. Anyone to see it. Like, yeah, how many times I've been questioned about this one right here? I can't even get the damn in the center screen there, because a lot of people come up and like. You at first, before it was like you were too young to be in Vietnam, or you were to see, you know, or that first cab, and a lot of people coming in there. But my purpose for getting it was to show it off and show, because it is a tribute that this is for my mother and this is for my father.
Right.
And so a lot of I like to think that a lot of canvases out there, that's what they get it for. You know what? I want a piece here and here, where that way, because I want a beautiful art piece. It's not something that. So I kind of feel like that's another thing that I want to do. It's like what you were saying. It's like basically bringing the art trail right out of this camera here, out of that camera there, and show people the give people the opportunity to showcase their art pieces, and even the artists to come out and say, this is my favorite piece. I had fun. I had a blast doing it. It just felt good the whole time, and it looks amazing. And the people can actually sit there and agree. So I kind of like what we're doing here. I know it's easy for me to say that because we're doing it, but.
Right.
But I want to bring that to everyone else. I want to give them the opportunity. I've already reached out a couple people too.
And I'll definitely do my part of reaching out to, and I can't thank you enough for, inviting me to help you do this. I think it's something I've been looking for something to help the community that I love so much. I love the art community, and I hate that I'm not quite as involved as I should be, being that I have traveled a lot. I've enjoyed being able to do that, but I'm here in the Lubbock area. This is my home, and I'm kind of a little sad on the inside that I'm not quite as involved in the art, the art trail and some of the things I do right now. Also too, for those that are listening to know me, my clients and stuff, like I'm big in music, so that's another thing too that I've been involved with. I would love to showcase on here too. Is like you as well. You're a fan of music. You love the live music thing. So I want this to be a showcase of an art collective. Yes, this is being built on the backbone of the tattoo industry and the tattoo culture and stuff. Right. But we have to understand that before anybody was ever a tattoo artist, they were an artist, and that's another, again, going in is that I'm gonna keep saying this and expressing that gotta do your homework. You have to do your homework on your artists. For the clients, you've got to do your homework. Understand that there are people out there, and this is again going with my issue with the epidemic of hobbies. There's a lot of people that have kind of hurt the industry because they're in it for the money. Yeah. They're not in it for the passion. Right. And so
quick, easy buck.
Yeah, quick, easy buck. They think, because again, like I said earlier, they're looking at it from the outside, from the sidelines, and like, oh, well, they got rock star lifestyle and money, but it's not always fast money. And again, depending on where you're at, like I know several artists that will agree, and there will be several artists that will disagree whenever we say the word slow season. Like I think every business has that, but we have that dread shit. Once we know that Labor Day comes, like the holidays start coming in, ready. Get ready. The tattoo industry's fixing to take a hit. I know, especially for Lubbock. I don't care what anyone says here in Lubbock. Like, don't get me wrong, there's artists in there that stay fluidly
booked constantly.
Don't get me wrong, there are. So it's not all. But I know several shops that come like seasonal time, like the holiday season. Like if you get a few walk-ins that day, like you're blessed. Right. And so you are relying on those loyal clients that have been getting tattooed for years. You're relying on doing gimmicks of raffles and drawings, like, things like that. And don't get me wrong, like, I know that some of the people, I'll probably catch some backlash, because some people will tell me, well, you shouldn't have slow season if you're out there doing your social media stuff and you're doing, again, but for those older artists that don't, and like they're camera shy, because not everybody wants to get in front of the camera and wants to go and do it's uncomfortable for them. So so some people don't want to get on there and do these little goofy TikToks and stuff like that. That yes, catch the views, catch the likes, catch the clicks in the cloud and all that nonsense that goes with that. But there are several old dogs in this industry that are like, I'm stuck in my old ways. I don't want to do this nonsense. Like, and they want to try and preserve the no-nonsense traditional tattooing lifestyle of, hey, I'm here, come in, like, let's do this tattoo. Like, let's forget all this nonsensical, quote-unquote, formalities of, like, how a tattoo's done now. Like, don't get me wrong, like I said, we talked about, there's pros and cons to it.
Right. So, well, I want to go ahead and take this opportunity to invite the viewers, because this is our first episode, and again, I'm happy to say that me and you are breaking barriers once again, because as far as I know, this isn't the only, it's not just the first, but probably the only podcast about tattooing. I did my research and tried to find one, not one here in Lubbock, Texas, not here in the Lubbock area. So hopefully for you, this reaches you. And so this is our cordial invitation to the viewers to send in your questions, send in your comments, and keep them classy, because the same way that he can, I can, we can go, we can go the other way too. And we're not afraid to. But for the respect of the art, respect of the craft, and now when I mean art, I mean arts of all kinds. If it's on if the canvas is
living or not,
yeah. If your tool of choice is a machine or an instrument or a paintbrush, we want to hear about it. We want to showcase you. So again, just like my other show, you'll be able to find us on Spotify, Pandora, and YouTube on YouTube at Los Huerfanos 4740 streaming Synister Stream Room Productions. Yes, yet another one on YouTube. And like I said, under all those formats, if you scroll down on this episode and go down enough, you'll see where it says comments. Feel free to leave us a comment, suggestions, questions, whatever you want. That way we can come and deliver better quality viewing and listening for you. And I also want to invite artists. Do you have any specific artists that you'd like to shout out to and give them to come and sit in one of these seats over here?
Oh man, shoot! I mean, there's quite a bit. Like I said, I named a few here today. I mean, we talked about Chris Vargas, guys, Jess and Willie, Ricky Flores and his guys over at EDOC.
Orlando.
You know, definitely love to get some of the great female artists that we've got here. Ivy, we would love to get I think Garza. She's a great fine line artist that I've got some respect for seeing what she's coming out with. I know that there are some other women that work her with. Code 26, that's the EDOC's female. Martin and the All Star crew, they're coming out with a female, all female shops.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, I would definitely love to get some of those guys out and around. Definitely get the variety. I want to help you showcase the different variety of what Lubbock has to offer as far as different styles and stuff like that. So yeah, like my brother said, we invite you guys. First off, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming in and tuning in and listening to us, go on about, what we love. We hope that you guys share the same passion, and we love to hear all the things that you got to say, comments, questions. Again, we want to make this a place where we bring unity in the community, whether you're an artist or whether you're a collector, whether it's flesh canvas, living canvas, or other, we want to bring the unity along with the education. Right. So we want to help, establish this platform for people to come in, share their stories, their testimonies, because again, as an artist, that's what we're all doing. We're all out here to share, whether it be our story or we're helping somebody share a story.
Sit down, listen.
It's a testimony through visual, through word, through however your art choice may be, your medium choice may be. That's what it is. It's a story that needs to be told, and we want to help, Lubbock and the surrounding areas. We want to help you guys tell your story, man. So help us. Right. Help you get out there.
We got a soapbox. We want you to come and stand on it and shout it out to Lubbock. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Real quick, just one more that I'm seeing here, because maybe we'll be showcasing, and again, we'll probably come. Well, I know for sure, not probably, but I know for sure we'll come back to your story in it all. But I'm looking at one right here in the final minutes that we have here that I'm curious to hear and to know on your side personally, because I know this is going to be one of the questions that are going to be on the hot seat for these guys, for our guests. But there's one here that says client confessions. And as risque as it sounds, I want to know the most funniest or memorable story that you have from clients.
Funniest.
The funniest or most memorable. So that because you have to, as long as you've been doing it, I'm sure you have to have one or two locked away there. But
I think I probably got more nightmares than
I. Well, that would be memorable, right?
Dude, I've had at least two people. I mean, I know there are artists out there that can probably only two. I've had way more, but I've had two people pass out on me, and it was those were kind of horrendous. But funny. I would say I had a good friend of mine. Shout out to you if you get to watch the episode, Mr. Heath Riley. Love him. He's my boy. Good client of mine. And so he wanted to get, you were just saying earlier, the skeletorial,
Right.
theme and stuff. He decided he wanted to get, and still currently, we got to finish these feet. He decided he wanted to get the skeletorial structure of his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, and we're talking not just like the top, like all the way to the cuticles of the toenail. Like we're all, the whole foot. The whole foot.
Does the ink take well in that spot?
I mean, it
does.
like hands. Like there are some places that, if not taken care of, may need some touching up. But I mean, his healed up quite well.
Oh yeah.
But to go basically from like the bending joint, like the ankle where it bent all the way down to the cuticles, like I mean, up here in the bending area was like I thought. But anyway, like to see that man levitate like the exorcism. My daughter was, Miha was there inside. She was there at the shop. She was there just hanging out with me, so she got to witness it. And to this day, if I bring up, oh yeah, I'm gonna go tattoo, she was like, hopefully he sits his ass in the chair the entire time and doesn't jump and levitate out of that chair. We still gotta get them feet finished. Like last time that I tattooed her, so we're not 2 sessions on these feet. We did 1 session of all the line work and like all the heavy black saturation.
Yeah.
Again, we're going with like photorealistic, like heavy opaque grays, like. Yeah, I'm kind of experimenting with him because I had done, like, for the longest time, just a lot of traditional, just black and gray, not mixing in opaque grays and starting to put in white highlight. I was starting to play with that. So getting into that, we've done the line with the heavy black work and then doing like the shade, starting to put the shade, but we've only done like from the cuticles halfway up the feet. So we still have like from halfway up the feet all the way up to like where the foot bends. The top
for him, probably feels like miles.
Oh yeah, and get this. Yeah, here's more to that funny thing. He calls me up like last week, 2 weeks ago, I think. He messages me and he's like, it's late at night, just got home from shooting pool, and I get a message, and he's like, hey, have you ever done a blackout? And I'm like, according to this is one of these trend things that's popping up, and I have not, to the viewers and the listeners, like in 20 years, like because it's a new trend, I have not done a blackout tattoo. Right. I like them, don't get me wrong, I like to see what's, like to me, that is a challenging thing to do a blackout and then come back and do color on top of it. Like first to see like them doing blackouts and just doing like opaque grays and whites, like that was one thing. Like I saw one artist, and I have to go back and find out what his name was again. I just seen it doom scrolling one night. Like this dude did a blackout and did like some crazy hyper photorealism of a cat up next to a candle, like a window behind him. Like
yes,
I've
seen those.
Crazy detail over a blackout. I was like,
that's wild.
That's challenging. I want to try something like that. So anyway, going back, he messages me, is like, hey, I want to do this blackout on my sleeve, right? And I'm like, all right, man, kudos, let's do this. I got 148 mags sitting in my drawer, just waiting to just rake somebody's arm. And so he says, wants to do this blackout, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm game. Say when. Right. And then of course, in the conversation I said, remember, we still got those feet that we got. And he was like, I know, man, I know. He was like, man, he's like, it's one of those things where he's like, I got to get in the mood. And sure, he's got to hype himself up for that one. I can only imagine. I have my one foot done. Like, and granted, I did not go down to no cuticles. Like I have, it's the head of my ovation, my guitar. And I mean that, like the hand of the feet, it hurt, but like, is that center part. That center part of the hand and the feet, like that is the worst. Like where they stick IVs and stuff. Oh my god.
Oh, all right.
That is the probably most painful spot on the hand. If my opinion. Like, and I know some people will probably say no, the knuckle towards the knuckle is probably. And if we're gonna include the entire hand, I would probably say the further.
Right.
Well, I can speak. The further down that you get closer to that cuticle, like that stuff. that stuff hurts, man. So, but
I don't have any ink on my hands, but I've done plenty of damage to them, and I can tell you exactly
oh,
where it hurts the
yep.
most.
And if your artist is one of those that isn't quite light on that machine,
handle,
my God, they're gonna dig you up and find that on your bones, and it'll hurt. It'll hurt. The further you get down.
Before you finish that foot piece, you're probably gonna need a couple of parishes on speed dial so you can get somebody to go and help you.
Right, man. Somebody, yeah.
to run this exercise.
Think carefully about them. Y'all that are thinking feet and hands, y'all better think. And those that get a little gung ho, that want to come in and they're like you said earlier, they want to get one tattoo and they come in on the second one and be like, I want an entire back piece, or I want my entire ribs done. I'm like, I was like, hey, I'll sit it just fine because it doesn't hurt me at all. Like, you better be able to sit still because I don't want to hear about, them lines were a little janky. Yeah. Well, that's because you didn't sit still.
So I said a snake, not a penis. Well, hey, you need to sit still.
Right. And man, that's another thing too, guys. Like when clients just giving you some tattoo etiquette. When you come to your tattoos, I understand you want to always, bring drinks, bring snacks. If you gotta bring a support group, that's fine. But please, public service announcement, for the love of God, like, do not come with tablets and phones and all this stuff that you've got to be moving and all this type of stuff because I mean, like, if your artist has never said this, let me be the voice and speak for all of us artists when we say, if your artist does not express themselves, hopefully respectfully and kindly, but if they do not express how much and how important it is for you not to be doing that, because obviously, I mean, we have a needle that's going into your skin and it is causing trauma. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. Like, they're causing trauma to your skin.
Right.
We are opening up the flesh, and you're entrusting your living, breathing canvas with us. Like, we as the artists want to do as best as we can.
Absolutely.
Obviously, like, because not only is it our name that's on that, but it's a piece of we're putting a piece of our spirit into it. That's another thing that these clients need to understand. Why respect the artist whenever they say they want to charge what they charge, because again, you're not just getting somebody to go over there and doodle bob on you, bro. Like, they're going, if it's a respectable artist, they're giving you a piece of their soul, their time, because if they love their craft and they're giving you their time and their passion, like, they're giving you a piece of them.
Right.
And so, for the love of God, please bring less distraction as possible.
Right.
I understand it's a painful thing. I understand we want to try and find things to find and help us find that tranquil oasis while we're under the trauma of that needle.
Right.
But to have so many things that you're moving, and again, I understand sneezing and twitching and all that stuff comes with it.
Right.
Definitely be communicative with your artist.
Yeah, I got a sneeze coming, but
yeah, hey man, I gotta move. Can we take a pause? Like, you do it. Don't, to the male client listeners, please, guys, I get it. You guys want to be macho and you guys want to get a lot of stuff done. I understand. You want to look all kinds of sexy for your girl naked in the mirror. I get it. So, but don't come in thinking that you're gonna get some giant, and oh my God, with this whole AI thing, like, don't think that you're gonna get some crazy photorealistic Sistine Chapel down your entire arm in one session. Yeah. And you want to push yourself. The body, listen to your body. You know your body better than anybody. And so typically your body can withstand, averagely, I want to say 6 to 8 hours. Yeah, you have a few clients out there that they are some kind of superhuman nature,
Captain
that
America.
Can do 10 plus, 12 plus hours, 15 whole days.
Right.
Like, my buddy who's in our private studio with me, like, he can, that dude tattooed not too long ago, he tattooed, like, it had to have been at least 16 hours. Like, I left.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I left at night and it was like 8, 9 o'clock. Came back the next morning at like 11, like, no, it was like 10, getting ready for an 11 o'clock appointment, and started my tattoo. Got into my tattoo. He was done by like 1 o'clock the following, like after. Yeah, I was like,
Lord.
And I'm like, bro. I mean, granted, he is younger. Like, he's 27.
Right.
You know, so he's got like
Stamina.
Me at 40 trying to do that, forget it. Like, and I tell my
yeah.
clients that, like, now I'm like, look, I'm not a 20-year-old tattoo artist who's going to be trying to tattoo till the sun comes up. The earlier, the better. So for my clients that are listening, potential clients in the future, like, if you want to set up something with me, hey, and you want a big you want to do small projects, great. Like, you want to do a big project, the earlier the better. Let's fucking get some breakfast burritos or whatever in the morning.
Right.
Let's crank it out all day long, and that way you and I both can get home to have a decent time for dinner. Absolutely. You know, and be able to relax and wind down. But you know, it's definitely, again, you're probably gonna hear me say this over and over and over throughout this entire podcast and in different episodes. Do your due diligence. Find the artist that best fits the criteria of what you're envisioning. You know, do not settle because somebody can do it cheaper.
Oh,
you know,
shit, that's
like,
the big one.
Because somebody is, you know, and I get it, we're antsy. Or maybe you settle for another artist because the artist that you wanted wasn't available.
Right.
You know, again, respect that. Again, I'm speaking for myself, but us seasoned artists, the older we get, the more our time becomes valuable. You know?
Right.
And I'm, again, speaking on my own personal, like, I didn't do deposits for the longest time. And now it's, dude, I've been shot in the foot. So I've shot myself in the foot so many times that now it's like, if you want my time to, like, even just draw you something,
right?
Like, come on, man, respect my time,
right?
Please, like, I mean, respect the fact that I'm gonna spend. If you show me the respect by giving me what I'm worth and asking what little I ask for as far as compensation for the preparation and all that stuff, like,
yeah,
believe you me, you're getting 100% of my attention and my focus,
right? Whenever
I set the time for you,
right?
So, and again, I'm speaking for lots of artists I know that spend the time, do the work for somebody to give us, you know, and you got, again, not trying to cast stones or anything, but you clients that, oh, well, I had a last minute, you know how many times we as artists can hear, oh, well, I had a family, and I'm not saying that there aren't family emergencies, I understand that.
Yeah, right.
You know, but how many times that these cliche excuses, you know, of why we didn't make our appointments. You know, if the shoe was on the other foot, I know that I've seen videos here on TikTok and they're hilarious. And it's like the caption is like POV, point of view of the, if it was the artist doing it to the client, like the client walks in and the artist is like walking out and they're like, oh, sorry, I called you. We were going to cancel. I have a barbecue to go to today. Like, and then they walk out, and I'm like, if the shoe was on the other foot, right? Like, how would you feel?
How would you feel? Exactly.
You know, because again, like,
do unto others.
Yeah, exactly. And time, you know, in this day and age, for you younger, you know, audience, y'all think you got enough time, and for another episode, you'll learn. Time is of the essence, it's one thing. All the other stuff in this world will come and go. You will lose it. You will regain it, obtain it. It'll come in different shapes and forms. Time, on the other hand, you will not get back. And so, speaking for all men, all human, mankind, like, it's just, please respect another person's time. Yeah. Especially if it's something that is so serious that putting artwork on somebody's body. Because, again, as much as people will try and think it's just something as simple as doodling on a piece of paper, it's not. Yeah. Like, there's a lot that goes into tattooing. And again, what we want to try and help do with this podcast and this platform is educate the artists or the up-and-coming artists that don't know their due diligence on what the preparation of tattooing. Right. But the clients too, we want to give them the insight on what happens. Yeah. Kind of behind the scenes of what it takes to make the beautiful artwork that you see. That you want. Exactly. You know, 100%. So we will definitely, we don't want to, you know, cover too many things today, but we'll definitely save some topics for upcoming episodes, man. Again, we thank you guys for tuning in. We hope to hear back from you guys. We hope to be able to continue this journey with you guys. We looking forward to having the guests that want to partake and join this journey with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're ready for it out again, on my part, I want to thank everyone. Again, I want to welcome everyone. Comments, questions, opinions on this episode edited, because we're recording right now on a Thursday. It should be out on streaming by, I want to say Friday, maybe Saturday, because I got a lot of things coming. I got with the Synister Streamroom Productions, we've got some live tournaments coming up, but anyway, I want to thank everyone. We appreciate you. We greatly appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully, we will deliver what you're looking for. Chris, take it away, man.
Yeah, again, we appreciate any comments, any questions. Follow. I'm sure all the links down in the bio. Follow anything. Again, we appreciate all the intake. We want to let you guys know, man, that a tattoo tells a story, but every story has something hidden between the lines.
Thank you.